Sziasztok! Bálint vagyok a Talentunótól, és az e-havi témánk a digitális munkahelyek. Úgy gondoltuk, hogy eljövünk a Kaptárba, és kicsit körüljárjuk a távmunkának a kérdését. A remote work azt jelenti, hogy a munkavállalók bárhonnan dolgozhatnak. Akár otthonról, akár egy kávézókból, akár egy ilyen coworking irodából, vagy hetente más-más országból is. Sok mítosz kering a távmunkával kapcsolatban, ezért úgy gondoltuk, hogy utána járunk ezeknek, és megkérdezünk valakit, aki már évek óta dolgozik így. Menjünk be, ismerkedjünk meg Jamie-vel. Hi Jamie, and thanks for joining us in this episode. And first of all, can you please tell us about yourself and your past?
Of course. So I've been a developer for about 10 years, working remotely for 4, and in that time I've kind of worked remotely as a developer. I ran my own business. I ran somebody else's business, and also managed teams, like small to medium-sized teams remotely as well. So I kind of did a bit of everything.
And how long have you been working remotely?
About 4 years now total.
I think we can jump right into the questions and the myths. Remote workers are not productive.
I think that's not true. I think remote work, you need to understand people's individual motivations a bit better. So for example, for myself, I find if I stay in the same space all of the time, my productivity drops. So I have to keep myself moving between places, and then that keeps my productivity up. I guess there's also a factor that just some people aren't suited to remote working, and some people like being in an office environment with the same people every day. And in that case, maybe a co-working space would be best. So I think it's just people have to find what works for them. So maybe at first there's a bit of a challenge, but after that it gets more normal, I think.
You cannot build relationships with people who work remotely.
I think that's also, it can be a challenge, but it's also a myth. So I think it's important that you make an effort with the team. So if you have a remote team, you should encourage things like video chats, like not every day, but maybe once a week. You should encourage like daily team calls. And also I think if you do have the budget, like a yearly get together for the team, which can be optional because some people don't like to, but those things can really help, I think, bring a team together and create bonds.
Working from home feels lonely.
That one can be true. So that's why I personally like to get out between places and mix up my day. But sometimes working from home can be the best thing ever. If I've been in co-working spaces and coffee shops for weeks, sometimes just a day at home without distraction can be really productive and quite fun. So you just have to find what works for you, I think.
Working remote means that you spend the day in your pajamas.
That is not true. I think I admit that I tried that a few times, but I never felt very productive. I didn't get very much done. There's something mindset based about actually getting ready and starting your day. And you have to have a separation between like relaxing and work. And if you're just in pajamas all day, you don't really know when work stops and relaxing begins. And I think you have to find a balance with those things.
Remote employees should be available 24/7.
That's definitely not true. I think that's a myth that comes from, because often remote employees have flexi time, and therefore it's a communication issue normally. If your boss doesn't know what times you'll be available, they can message you at times that you want, and then people can feel stressed. So I think as long as you communicate and agree between like the staff and when people are available, and then the management stick to that agreement, then I think that's not true. And in most cases, my experience, unless there's an emergency, people don't bother you 24/7.
It is too difficult to manage complex projects with a remote team.
That's not true. I've done some extremely complex projects for clients in the past, for like international brands, building like multi-locale and multi-currency e-commerce stores, and that was with a fairly large team of 4 or 5 developers. over several months, and the whole project was planned remotely, delivered remotely. Obviously there has to be a lot of effort in the planning, but I don't really feel like there was any more effort going into the project than if it was planned in an office. As long as you stick to this regular communication between the teams and you follow processes to ensure that quality remains, as every agency and developer should really do, then a remote worker, I guess, then yes, that would be not a problem, I don't think, at all.
The last one is connected to this. Remote work is just for developers, coders, and IT professionals.
So that's a misconception and a myth maybe I would have assigned to before I became a remote worker. And then having worked in co-working spaces and many places with remote workers for years, I've realized that there's so many different professions. There's business owners, there's small businesses who are here, like the whole team in co-working spaces for work or traveling remotely sometimes. There's photographers, I've seen lawyers, spiritualist help, things like that, self-help people. Yeah, there's all sorts of people who work remotely and make it successful. So I think it's for anyone who finds themselves able to I think that's some key thing is you need to be able to self-motivate, and that's one key requirement, I think. So anyone who can do that can work remotely.